Okay. So now going into the 2012 A-level question, question number 5. What is meant by equilibrium level of national income? A very common question. What are the conditions for the equilibrium in required for the equilibrium in national income level? So what is meant by equilibrium level of national income? You can start off with saying at equilibrium. You can say at equilibrium, there is no tendency, or you can say equilibrium is a position, or equilibrium is a situation where there is no tendency for what? There is no tendency for the national income to increase or decrease, right? You can say that. You can start off your answer by saying at equilibrium, there is no tendency for the equilibrium for national income to either increase or decrease. Then you can say the particular value of national income at this level or at this point, right? At this point where there is no tendency for it to increase or decrease, at this point is known as the equilibrium level of national income. Just go through the answer, guys. You will see a very simple answer. They say that, I can't remember if this is the exact marking scheme that I'm referring to, right? The marking scheme will say equilibrium level is a situation or is a position where there is no tendency for the national income to increase or decrease. That is clear, no, guys? That's the equilibrium. No? When there is no tendency for it to increase or decrease, it has settled. That's equilibrium. And then you can say the particular value of national income at this point is known as the equilibrium level of national income. And you can then further go and say further, right? Also in this situation, the aggregate demand would equal to the aggregate supply in the economy. So you can go on and add. Okay. And then, guys, what are the conditions needed? The conditions needed, number one, what should happen? The aggregate out, guys, don't just say y equals e, right? Be very specific with what you're writing. You can say the aggregate output will equal to the aggregate expenditure. So in other words, you can say y will equals e. Then you can say total withdrawals will equal to the total injections. W equals J. You can say what are the components of W and all you can put. Then third one, you can say aggregate demand will equal to aggregate supply. So write full forms. Don't just say ADAS W equals J. So when they're asking for the condition, because it's a 6-mark thing, guys. So properly write. Is that okay? It's a very common question, guys. Put a star and keep it. What is equilibrium level of national income and how do we show it? Okay. How is it separate? Separate in the sense? So in terms of marks, I think 6 marks for a question like this is a little too much, right? So ideally, how maybe they would have allocated is maybe they would have allocated around 2 marks for what is equilibrium level of national income, 2 marks for kind of explaining the y equals e, 2 marks for explaining w equals j. AD equals AS might not be very important. Maybe it is broken down like this. Or it could be broken down, let's say, 3 marks for this, 3 marks for each of the conditions. Could be something like that also. Okay. Why do we say injections as this is obtained within a certain period of time? I mean, why are these things? Because all these economic models we look at for a period of time. So all now, for example, demand or supply, PPC, all of that, right? We look at for a period of time, how much of injections and all of has come, right? So in the circular flow of income, we look at for a period of time. Let's say during a period of 1 year and stuff, how much has gone, how much has come, how much has gone as savings, how much has come back as investment. That's what we look at. You can't say at a given point of time. Can you say exactly at this point savings is this much, investment is this much? You can't. That's why you only take a period. More like a flow concept than a stock concept. Then part 2. Why is savings called a leakage, guys? Why is savings called a leakage? Just the normal basic 2-mark question. You don't have to explain the components of withdrawals, but you can write the components. Withdrawals will have savings, taxes, and imports. Injections will have these. Okay, right. Why is savings called a leakage? So you can start off with writing what is savings. What is savings, guys? Savings is, you can say, is the part of income not spent on consumption. In other words, right, you can say, now usually you all know from the amount of money that households get from their income, they spend it on goods and services, right? Goes in circular flow. No? Households get rent, wages, interest, profit. They spend that on what? On goods and services. It goes on like that. But here what happens? When they get 100, they don't spend the entire thing. Small part of it goes off as saving. That's why we call saving the leakage. So you can say saving the part of income that is not spent on consumption. And then you can say, right, due to savings, right? Due to savings, you can say, let's say, what happens? Money flows out of the circular flow. You can say out of the circular flow. You can, within brackets, say not spent on goods and services, right? Not spent on goods and services, right? Goods and services, and moves out of the circular flow and moves to where? Moves to the financial institution. And then you can say this will reduce the velocity of circulation, will reduce the amount of money that is there, and it will contract the economy. If you can give something small like that, more than enough for 2 marks. How do we show equilibrium of national income using graph? Is it how we showed? Yes. Y equals Z or W equals Z? There is a question. Difference between income and disposable income, that's a very easy one, right? So remember, you have your income, right? From your income, if you minus taxes and add transfers, you get disposable income. Disposable income is the money that you actually can spend. You go to your office, says your salary is 100,000, but then at the end of the day, you only get 90,000. Why? Because let's say 15,000 was deducted as income tax. You got a 5,000 transfer, so you get only 90,000. That's disposable income. Okay. How does this reduce velocity of circulation, guys? Because money is not spent, no. So the more money spent, now what is velocity of circulation? How many times does money go from one person to another person to another person, right? So here what is happening is the money is not going, it's not spent on consumption. Some of it is going to this FI is financial institution. Okay, money is going to the bank instead. Is all withdrawal reducing in a sense? Velocity of circulation? Not really, but you can say savings will reduce velocity of circulation. Okay, so once again, guys, for this 2 marks, what do you have to write? Listen carefully. It's a 2-mark question. So you start off with saying what is savings? Say that savings is a part of income that is not spent on consumption. Start your answer like that. Then you can say, look here, because of savings, money flows out of the circular flow. It goes out of the circular flow. In other words, it is not spent on goods and services. It flows out of the circular flow and it goes into where? And it goes into the financial institution. And you can then say, as a result, what happens? As a result, you can say the velocity of circulation, we studied in unit number 7, reduces, and the economy, you can also say the economy contracts. You can give in a small thing there. For 2 marks, it's more than enough. That is why savings is called a leakage. Any question? Can you all handle? Yes, these are easy ones. You have to write and practice, guys. The more you write, the better you get. You know what savings is, you know what leakage is, you need to know how to write. Okay, so keep doing mock exam, people. Make sure all 24 papers are properly submitted. If you can do that, that is more than enough answer practice. Others also, guys, please write answers now. Now stop studying theory and doing all of that. Now you have to write, because you all know the theory now, guys. You all know what is savings, you all know what is leakages. You have to work on this. Yes, velocity of circulation decreases, downward arrow. Okay, right. Then we'll go into part 3. Okay. Assume that without taxes, the consumption schedule for economy is shown below. Graph this consumption schedule and derive the equation representing the consumption. See, the moment they say graph this consumption schedule, it has to be on a graph paper. Don't draw it on the normal paper now. Okay, so how do we draw this? Simple, guys. Properly show the points. They have given you the y, they have given you the z. You just have to draw the graph, right? I'll draw it over here. Okay, so here you have the consumption axis, or in other words, this is the expenditure axis. This is the y-axis. Okay, so then mark these points properly. Take a proper this thing, right? Scale, and then mark here. When the y is 100, consumption is 120. Okay, so when the y is 100, let's say this is 100, so consumption is 120, a little above that. Okay, then when the y is 200, consumption is also 200. Y is 200, consumption also 200. So draw it, and then you will get, you have to find autonomous consumption. Can someone tell me how much is the autonomous consumption here, guys? How much is your A component? 40? A is 40, right? When this is, go with the normal pattern. Okay, this is a 40, right? So it will start from 40, and you draw the diagram. Okay, this is your consumption function. Then they are not saying only to draw the diagram, right? Graph this consumption schedule and derive the equation. Ayyo, these questions, how do you derive the equation, guys? First, you find your B component. What is the B component? Change in consumption divided by change in income, your MPC. So how much is that? Take any 2 points that you like. So I'll take the last 2. Change in consumption is 80. Change in income is 100. So MPC is 0.8. Then you have to find your A component. How do you find the A component? C is equal to A plus B by D. Select any point that you like. I'll take the 300 and 280. So at this point, consumption is 280. A I am finding. B I know, I found in the previous step, 0.8. Y is how much? 300. Okay, so you can select any point that you like. I selected this point, so I took 300 and 280. You can select any point you like. Okay, so you solve this, right? 280 equals A plus 0.8 in 300 is 220. A is equal to 40. So then what is your consumption function? C is equal to 40 plus 0.8. So to get that consumption function and draw this into a graph, can you see how many marks they are giving you? They are giving you 6 marks just to do this, guys. I think this is one of the easiest 6 marks that you can ever get. Just to draw the diagram, they have even given the numbers. They have given the numbers and asking you to plot this in a graph. And also they are telling you, sorry, this is 240, okay, right? They're also telling you to come up with the consumption equation. Can you all do that? Don't leave questions like this, guys. You all must be scared to draw a graph, but if you can practice more and more graphs, it would become very easy. Okay. Now, then the next one, see. Assume now a lump sum tax is imposed. Lump sum means autonomous tax. Okay, such that the government collects 20 billion in taxes at all levels of GDP. Graph the resulting consumption schedule and derive the equation. Are these problems? How do we draw this, guys? Simple, no? consumption is equal to 40 plus 0.8 by D. Now there is a tax. So now how do you adjust for this here? Consumption will then be equal to, sorry, not 400, no, 40. Okay. 40 plus 0.8 into Y minus T. Okay. Can we show equilibrium in the above graph? There is no equilibrium, there is only consumption, right? If there is an investment or something, you can get equilibrium. There is no real equilibrium here, there is only the C. They have not given you information, show equilibrium. Yeah. Okay. Then C is equal to 40 plus 0.8 Y minus 20. You solve. So 40 plus 0.8 into Y, 0.8 Y, 0.8 into minus 20 is minus 16. So you get C is equal to 32 plus 0.8. No, not 32. 24. No? 24 plus 0.8 Y. Is that okay, guys? Y is A equal to 40, we got, right? Yes, I'm using the same equation. 40 plus 0.85. So for this same equation, now there is a tax. That is what they're saying. So they are saying, look here, assume now that a lump sum tax is imposed. So for this same equation that we found before, now I'm adjusting and getting a tax. Okay. You can say Y, guys, not YD here, because you've already adjusted it for the tax now. Okay. Right. This is the equation. So now they are asking you to plot this on a graph. Simple. See, your A, B component has not changed. No. Take your previous component, right? Where did your previous curve start? Previous curve started at 40, right? A was 40. Now your A is 24. Same, with the same MPC, slope is the same. So what do you do now, right? You draw this. This is your new consumption. So, is that clear, guys? Yeah, you can label a few points also. So if you now see, it has to come in a graph, right? Because only if you draw in a graph, the points will match. Then, you know, this will align with the proper number, you know, that's why you do it. The Y equals E line is not needed here, guys. They're just asking you to show the equilibrium. Is that okay or not okay? Can we consider C equals Y? Not needed. They're just asking you to, you don't have to draw the Y equals Z dotted line also here, guys. As long as you can properly draw the consumption curve, I think that's okay. No, I think you should draw it on a different curve, no? What are they saying? Graph the resulting consumption schedule and derive the equation. Derive the equation representing the new consumption schedule. If you want, you can draw a new consumption schedule also, guys. So along with this, right, they are saying one is you, now maybe this 6 marks, ideally, they are not saying to come up with the new consumption schedule, but they are saying draw the graph. So this part is necessary. So you draw a new graph. Either you can show it in the same thing, or what you can do, you can show it on a different graph. You can do that. If not, what you can do is, you can then come up with this. Come up with the equation, and if you want, come up with the new schedule, guys. So this is for the this equation. So now if the Y is 100, 200, 300, 400, and all of that, how much is this? It's very easy, guys. The same numbers. So now your this one is how much? When your Y is 100, so when your Y is 0, consumption will be 24. MPC is 0.8. So when your Y is 100, consumption will be 80 more, no? So it will be a 104. When the Y is 200, it will be 184. When the Y is 300, it will be a 264. You know, 80, 80, 80, no? Every time y increases by 100, c increases by 80. Okay. If they just give you the equation, ask to draw the graph, usually they'll give you the equation. So from the equation, you can get the number, right? From the A component here, and the A component is 40. So you know C starts at 40. You can get that. How do I find 80? Which 80? So MPC 0.8, no guys. This is where you need to get your logic into place. So what is MPC? When income increases by how much, consumption will change. So if income increases by 100, consumption will increase by 80, 0.8. Yeah. This is not really needed, but if you really want, you can show that. The main thing that they will require is you to find the new consumption equation and also show it on a graph. You can show it on a separate graph also, but maybe even better if you can show it on the same graph. Then is clearly shown that you are starting at another one. Maybe you can draw the first graph with only one curve. Second graph, you can draw both the curves. Maybe that would have been more correct. Yeah. So can you see how easy this 6 marks again is? It's not at all hard, guys. Come up with the new equation and draw the graph. Here also, to come up with the equation, draw the graph. So how much marks is that? 6 marks and 6 marks, 12 marks, just to draw the graphs and come up with the equation. Can you all handle something like that? Yes, these are like 3 marks, okay? You might find this a little hard, but if you get a question like this in your paper, the person who knows this, it's a guaranteed 3 mark for you, okay? 12 marks, writing a essay question for 12 marks, 444 is much more harder than getting this. You draw the graph properly, you give the equation properly, you get your full mark. So this 6 marks and this 6 marks is way easier to get than actually writing for an essay question. So please don't leave this if you know these guys. Now, if you completely don't know it, if you're very, very weak, then fine, go with unit number 1, 2, 3. But if you think you are kind of okay, definitely go for this because these questions are easier to score than the rest. Is that fine, guys? 2012. Okay. Save. Okay. Right, let me end up there.